Okay, so we have a quick little project today. We're going to finally get a chance to put the Swift springs into the Kei van. As you know, about a year and a half ago or so, I switched the front shocks to coilovers using S13 coilovers out of a like 89-ish or so 240XX or Sylvia. The problem is that those springs are way too heavy duty for this little truck, so it just gets very bouncy. So what we did was pick ourselves up a set of Swift springs. These, I believe, are 7-inch 4K springs. I was going to get the 3K springs, but I could not. They didn't have them in stock. So these are just a much lighter gauge spring. So we're going to swap out the stock springs that are in there, or the springs that came with the coilovers, for these. Again, a S13 is way heavier than this old Kei truck, especially in the front. So we're gonna get those old springs out of there and get this all swapped. This shouldn't take too long. We gotta get the wheels off, get the seats out, top shocks unbolted, and then we should be good to go. So you can see the size difference between these two springs. This has an extra coil on it, and it's also super thick compared to this one. Again, this one should be more appropriate for the vehicle. So we're going to get this one installed. They're both 7 inches, or approximately 7 inches. It could be in millimeters. They are 70 millimeters in the circumference in the middle part, and that should allow it to fit nicely on the sleeve. So I think that's 2 3/4-ish or so, or maybe 2.5. I can't remember. I think it's 2 3/4 is 70 mil. So it fits right there real nice on this. So let's get this installed and see how it all feels. So previously this gap here was 26 millimeters. I'm going to lower it down to 15 millimeters because I want to lower the car a little. And what will happen is we'll just thread this in a little further. I'm going to put a piece of tape on this just to hold it in place while I spin it in, just so this doesn't spin around. Okay, so we've installed those and I've taken it for a test drive, and the suspension is 100 times better. It's just night and day difference. Those other springs are just way too strong for this vehicle. So, but I'm still getting a little bit of vibration now. In fact, I did actually even get a death wobble once or twice. So what I believe happened is when I had the death wobble the first time, and if you haven't had death wobble before, it's crazy. Basically, your steering wheel gets really uncontrollable while you're driving at a certain speed. The coilovers fixed that for me last time, mostly because the top shock mounts were just shot out. But now the death wobbles come back. So what we found out is that it's kind of migrated from one problem area to the next. So when I put these softer springs in, I lowered the vehicle a little bit more. So now we're about an inch lower than we were before. It's not crazy low, but it's lower. And the death wobble came back. So what's happened is the wheels are at a slightly different angle, and now it's kind of transferred the death wobble somewhere else. On top of that, I figured out that the ball joint in the control arms has actually gone bad. And so we're gonna have to replace these control arms. I did also replace the little dog bone in the suspension, and I'll show you that part too. The dog bone basically goes from the steering rack to the kind of pitman arm type thing. It's like a double pitman arm. That's usually, that pivot joint on the pitman arm is usually the spot that causes all the problem for death wobble in these Suzukis. But in this case, I've replaced that already. That's a brand new part, it's fine. The dog bone was had a little bit of looseness in it. I'll show you the part that I replaced that one with. And then now it's transferred over to the control arms having the last bit of problem. The tie rod ends in this car are actually good right now. So I haven't replaced those yet, but they're solid. They look almost brand new in here. So I'm not gonna replace those yet. We're gonna get the control arms done. That's gonna be in another video because I have to order the parts. And I'm also talking with my nephew and a couple other people about coming up with a fabricated version of the control arms that will have a serviceable ball joint in it. These control arms, when they go bad, you just have to replace the whole control arm. And I mean, that's okay, I guess. They're not that expensive. You can get them around 150 bucks or so. But the ball joint ends are the only things that are bad on it, so it doesn't make sense to replace the entire arm for just that little end. Even in my Buick and some of the other cars, you can just spin those right out and spin a new one right in. So we're gonna see if we can fabricate something that'll work for that and maybe be able to mass produce it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get the other ones ordered, and we'll see if we can't get that problem fixed. Biscuit started doing a little bit of the same thing. It's getting just a little bit of vibration there, and I jacked it up and looked at the control arms, and they're also kind of doing the same thing. So I'm going to show you real quick on video what is actually happening so you can help diagnose it if it's happening in your car too.
The way that I've been always able to test the components under here and see what's actually happening is to go ahead and jack up half of the vehicle. What we want is one wheel up in the air, and we want the other wheel to be still planted on the ground. So let's go ahead and get this lifted. And I like to just lift this up by this tension rod right here. It's real easy. And so right here you can see that wheel is still down and this one is up. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna shift this wheel around. And what you're looking for is to see any spots that move unnaturally. And if you watch, right here is where the ball joint is, and this is the control arm. So when I pivot this wheel, you're gonna see movement in that ball joint, and it really shouldn't have much of any. And so when I move the wheel like this, you can hear and feel that it has some looseness to it. And if you're looking at that ball joint there, you'll actually see it kind of pivoting. So I'm pretty sure at this point, this control rod ball joint is bad. So we're gonna go ahead and replace this whole unit here. And like I said, I'm also gonna look into seeing if we can fabricate a serviceable one. I'm assuming both of these are bad. There's no point in replacing one and not the other. In all likelihood, even if the other side isn't bad, which it does have some movement as well, you're just going to fix this problem and then have the problem pop up on the other side. Here is the new dog bone that we installed. So it's basically just these two castle nuts. You pull these out, take the bolt out of the top, and this one, sometimes you'll need a ball joint separator right here. And that's just a little device that attaches here, and you screw down on this part, it just pushes it out. Here's what the new and the old dog bone look like. You can actually see the new one's a little beefier. For some reason they changed the size of the castle nut, but the inside bolt is actually still the same. This is just a plastic cover that comes on it. This one is going to get installed into Biscuit. This is the ball joint separator that you'll need. You can pick these up at Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone, and you can even usually rent these from them for free. This is the other failure point that often happens. So this is the part I've replaced twice already. And then here are the tie rod ends. And again, they look pretty much brand new. I don't think those are going to be a problem for now. I'm also going to get a couple bushings to go for the sway bar ends. I thought I replaced those already, but I might not have. These sway bar bushings are okay right now too.
So I'll go ahead and get the part ordered for now. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try to actually fabricate something to replace these with a serviceable end. It's return of the death wobble for now, but we'll get it all sorted out. In the meantime, I really just wanted to show you the install of the Swift springs, but we'll be back on this one soon to get that sorted out. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll have another video coming out soon.